For the record, my name is Jon Alanis. I am the Development and Outreach Coordinator with Arizona Advocacy Network. My boss got to go to Tucson today. I got to come to Sedona. I think I got the better side of the deal.
I think so too. But you're going to Mexico tomorrow?
Yeah, I gotta go to get some dental work, so it's like a third of the price. It's crazy. So I represent Arizona Advocacy Network. We're an organization that works to secure total justice, local rights, and full civic participation. And here in the state of Arizona, we're one of the leading nonpartisan progressive civic organizations here in Arizona. We're nonpartisan, of course. Our main thing is, we work to protect, strengthen, and expand the clean election system here in Arizona. We truly believe in it. We were founded by the same people that started the Citizens Initiative that brought clean elections to Arizona. So we work to promote full disclosure of interest laws, money in politics laws, campaign contribution laws, and also voting rights laws. So our biggest victory so far, even though we have a lot of victories every year at the legislature, our biggest victory came last year when the United States Supreme Court struck down Prop 200. So if you remember Prop 200, that was the additional ID requirements for voter registration in Arizona. So back in 2002-ish, 3-ish, we brought the plaintiffs together. We organized a lawsuit, and we got the legal team and everything to challenge this bad anti-voter bill in Arizona. And after an 8-year battle, we were finally able to defeat this bill before the U.S. Supreme Court. But thanks to that victory before the U.S. Supreme Court, we've been able to register over 38,000 new voters who have now been able to use the federal voter registration form here in Arizona. Contrary to what our opponents believe or will say, these are not undocumented immigrants. These are U.S. citizens who have finally been able to register to vote using the federal form. I go around the state talking about money in politics, talking about the growing influence of money in politics here in Arizona. Last year, my boss and I, Sam Warszynski, got to show this group the United States of ALEC. And at the Sedona Public Library, I believe, it was my first week on the job, I remember. So I was like super scared when my boss, probably with him. Then I realized that Sedona is such a beautiful place, and I was looking forward to come back. Some of the things that we're just looking into this year, some of the legislative priorities are any related measures to House Bill 2305, which is the big anti-voter bill that we all gathered signatures for. We referred it to the ballot, and then the legislature repealed it. So now we're trying to make sure and pushing the legislature not to pass any individual components of the bill, which is still likely, unfortunately. Another bill that we've been tracking is SB 1060, which is a bill sponsored by Michelle Reagan from Scottsdale, who's got a reputation, I guess. And this bill, what it does is it prohibits lobbyists from giving your lawmakers gifts to special events like, Super Bowl, games, whatnot. The reason why we're tracking this bill, and we're just kind of poking them, is we're saying, well, if you want to ban lobbyists from giving tickets to legislators, how about we do an all-in, all-out ban on gifts? If the gift is not available to a normal working voter, it shouldn't be available to our lawmakers. But anyway, that's a bill that we've been tracking. It's been gathering a lot of bipartisan support. It's likely to pass. But we're pursuing an amendment to do a complete gift ban on it. Another bill that we're tracking and this is a big one for us, is SB 1344, which is an attack on clean elections. So what this bill does is it diminishes the authority of the Clean Elections Commission from investigating and campaign finance violations. There's also HCR 2023, which is the repeal of clean elections. They try to repeal clean elections every single year, pretty much, and we're just trying to make sure that this repeal does not get approved. And another bill that we're tracking very closely, it's actually going to be heard in committee this week, is SCR 1003. So what SCR 1003 does, if you haven't heard about it, every citizens initiative that has, and by the way, we all know that citizen initiative is one of the greatest constitutional powers that we have as citizens of Arizona. Well, citizen initiatives are under attack in Arizona. any citizens initiative that uses any sort of state monies from 1998 on would have to go back for reevaluation, for a revote every 8 years by the voters. The problem that we have with this is it takes millions of dollars to raise money to put a citizens initiative together. Now, defending a citizens initiative every 8 years, to us, we think is unfair, and we think it's an attack on voters. And we're pursuing this bill, which is, sorry, a little technical difficulty there. House Bill 2651, which restores a lot of the powers that have been removed from the Citizens Clean Elections Commission. So this bill, what it would do is it would restore, some of the powers that the Clean Elections Commission has lost. But just wanted to, bring up some of the things that we're, looking into this year. But I'm not here to talk about our normal money in politics forum. I'm here to talk about ALICE and RTS, which are two of the tools that citizens have available here in Arizona to track bills and have their input on any piece of legislation. So I'm gonna run through all these. So ALICE is a tracking system. It's an extension of the Arizona State Legislative website. It's especially good for big groups like your club to keep track of a large amount of bills in a single place, because it's always difficult keeping track of every bill that's being heard, and we all have different priorities of the legislation. And I think sometimes it becomes very difficult to know, oh well, I'm tracking House Bill X, and you don't know where it is. You don't know if it's going to COW, you don't know if it's going to committee, you don't know if it has passed, you don't know the status of it. So what ALICE does is that it allows you to track a large amount of bills in a very easy to use, very simple system. And I'll explain how to set up your ALICE account, and I'll set up how to track bills. And it's a very useful tool. We use it a whole lot. It's free, and it's provided by the legislature.
Why don't they try to do away with it?
Oh no, they're not trying to do it. Thankfully, they're not trying to do away with it yet. Oh, that'd be bad. So, and I'll explain this. It allows you to keep up to 5 separate lists of bills. So, that you can create 5 different groups. Let's say that you're very interested in transportation and environmental laws. So you can create different groups of bills on ALICE, and you can put all the bills that are related to that issue on that list. And I'll explain that a little bit, in more detail by showing you the website and how to do all that. Now, the request to speak system, request to speak in committee system, we refer to it as RTS, it allows individuals who wish to testify in committee, whether it's at the House or the Senate, to request to speak at the legislature. But it also allows you to submit comments from home. So let's say that there's a bill that you are really upset about, or maybe you really want your legislators to support. RTS allows you to have your comments be put in public record for committee hearings. So let's say, and one of the things I like about it, and I'll show it to you, is it allows you to see who is signing up for a bill, who is signing up against a bill, and at the end of it, if the committee passes that bill, now it goes to see who they're really representing and who they're speaking for. The committee chairpersons, so whether it's approach, transportation, environment, whatever it is, they have a list, and they see a live time of people who are signing up and the comments that people are submitting. They see live time. So it's a really powerful tool because who's your senator here? Steve Pierce? No.
It's
Crandell or Crandell?
Chester Crandell.
Chester Crandell.
Ooh.
And our House representatives are no better. Brenda Barton and Bob Thorne.
Yeah, Thor.
Yeah.
I belong to a non-partisan organization, but
They're the scum of the legislature.
I didn't say it.
I'll be happy to say it for you.
But anyway, so if a committee chairperson is reviewing a bill, they see all the comments coming in lifetime through RTS. So it's a really powerful tool that I really like because again, it allows you the voter to submit comments from home, or to testify on the bill, even if you cannot come down to the Capitol. So how do you access these 2 tools? If you go to the website, the legislative website, acleg.gov, there's different links. The most immediate ones are in the circle right there. So it's request to speak, that's RTS, and Alice tracking is right there. And it's also, you all see it to your left, on the left column. Now, for Alice, you can sign up from home. You can create an account from home. You don't have to come down to the Capitol. For RTS, unfortunately, you do need to come to the Capitol and sign up in person. Thankfully, I got a nice list, and I signed up Carol Binswangers, Sandy Wade, Marlene Hansen, Christy Slivinsky, Pam Drake. I hope some of the names here, some of the folks here are here in this list. Paul Schwartz, Diana Williamson, Peggy Chapin, Sandy Wade, and Alja. I signed you guys up for RTS already.
Oh, cool.
When you go to the legislature page, is that the whole page we're looking at?
This is the main page you'll see when you go to the legislative website. And again, to access RTS and Alice, it will be, it's right there inside the circles, you can tell.
Yeah.
Now, so I'm going to show you how to use Alice first, and I'll try it. And it gets it looks a little complicated because the system is super old and outdated, but it's still really good, and they do a really good job of keeping it updated. So this is the very first thing you see when you log in. It tells me, "Welcome to Alice, Jonathan. I'm speaking for my own behalf, so I'm not a lobbyist, and I have 8 progress alerts, and I'll show you what that means. It means that I have a list of bills." And these bills, when it tells me that there's a progress alert, it means that this bill is scheduled to be heard in a committee. So those are some of the bills are in my own progress list, and it's telling me that this bill, one of them will be heard in the second reading of calendar. One is going to be heard in rules. The other one's going to be rules. Caucus calendar for tomorrow. Caucus calendar and elections agenda. So it lets me know when those bills that I'm tracking, that I'm concerned about as ASAN or as myself, it lets me know if they're going to be heard. It lets me know, what's going on with these bills. And, let's say that I click on one of those bills. This is one of the bills I mentioned, SCR 1003, which attacks citizen initiatives. I click on the bill, and I'll show you all this. It tells me who the sponsors are. It tells me, where it has been. So as you can tell at the bottom, on January 27th, it was heard in elections. I'm sorry, on January 27th, it was assigned to elections, and on February 18th, it received a due pass recommendation, so it means that it moves to the full floor. It also was heard in rules, and it doesn't tell me if it passed through rules, but I assume that it did, and that rules determined that it was an okay bill. So I'm gonna log into the website to show you how to do. It's a little bit difficult for me to be explaining. This is how you do a progress alert without actually showing you how to do it. I haven't updated my progress. So this will be the website. Well, I'm just gonna go from the beginning. Oh my god. So this is the legislative website. I'll go to the bottom here at Alice Tracking. And I'll click here to track. You can create an account from home again. For Alice, you can create an account from home, so I haven't created one for you. So just log in. This is show my password. And again, it looks a little bit outdated, doesn't look like much, but this is the Alice home portal. Again, so it's telling me from the get-go that I have 6 progress alerts. These are the ones I just showed you, so it's telling me it tells me what the status is of these bills. But when you sign up, now let's say that you want to see what your representative is up to. So again, you told me that it was Mr. Crandell. So let's see what Mr. Crandell has been up to. You can look at again, you can choose which bills you want to see. I would say all bills. I can see this in sponsor inquiry, and let's look for Crandell. So begin search. These are all the bills that your state senator has co-sponsored or sponsored this year.
Busy.
Ton of them.
Busy.
Pile of Valley.
Huh?
Yeah, Pile of Valley.
It's a lot of bills. Most of them he's co-sponsored, but it's.
Pally Rock rules.
Huh?
What's your name? EPA notification of rules.
So so there's a lot of bills here. Let's say that you're going through this thing and you say, well, let's look for an interesting one.
How about the bulletproof vest?
Abortion clinics.
Abortion clinics. He co-sponsored this bill, House Bill 2284. So you're thinking, my state representative sponsored this. What is this bill about? So here on the top right corner says bill number. You just enter 2284, and it gives you all the summaries. Again, some people don't really trust these summaries, but I think that they're helpful and at least give you an idea of what's going on with this bill. You can see the bill status. You can see it gives you different options, and it will be different for each bill that you see. So let's see just the bill status. You click on it, it tells me that it got assigned to rules and to, what is this? Reforming Human Services back on the 28th. And it received a due pass recommendation on February 13th. Valentine's Day gift, I guess.
Can you actually read the text of the bill?
Oh yeah. Let me show it. So you can see the House, you can see different versions of it. You can see the one that, you can see the two amendments, you can see the amendments that were proposed to the bill. I will look for the most recent summary, which will be this one, House summary for Cal. Yeah, so that will be the most updated one, and you'll see, it will show the date. So House summary, and it usually has like nice little summary. Sometimes it'll give you like technical language, unfortunately. But most of the times when it has gone through committee, it will have the summary ready to go. And these summaries are prepared not by Republican staff or not by Democratic staff. They're prepared by research staff, which is nonpartisan. So at least I believe that these summaries are, at least I think they can be trusted, and I think they can give you a good idea of what's going on. So you can see what's going on. So you can see the bill, House Bill 2284, regulations regarding licensing of abortion clinics, Class 1 misdemeanor to assist a minor in obtaining an abortion. So that's a bill that's being co-sponsored by your own state senator. So you say, well, this bill concerns me. I don't know if I like this bill. Well, we'll close this window. And let's say that this is a bill that you're interested in. So you want to keep track of it, right? So what I would do is I would go here, personal progress, and this is it's going to show me all the lists that that I mentioned. It lets me have up to 5 bills. So let's create. I have all my ASIN bills, but let's say I'm going to create a new one. Let's say, Sedona Passing. I'm doing a presentation. So what I do if I want to add that bill to my progress alerts, I click on the list, and here it tells me that obviously there's no bills in the current list. So you want to look for it here. So we say it was 2284, right? Yeah, we said that that abortion law that we are interested in is 2284. It's going to take us a while to get there, I guess. Sorry. So there's a bill right there, and all you got to do is place it. So the list 3, which is the donor presentation, has already been selected. So you want to track that bill, you click on the right here on Add House Bill, or if it's a Senate bill, Add Senate Bill. Now, if you know a bunch of bills you're interested in inputting at the same time, you can just do it here you just got to separate them by comma. But let's add this abortion law. So we added House Bill 2284 to our list 3, which is our donor presentation.
So what did you say, you could have 5 on your list?
Oh, so you can have up to 5 lists.
You could have up to 5 lists,
Yeah.
or you can have.
So let's say that I have my ASIN bills are all, money, politics, and voting rights bills. But let's say that you want to keep lists separate of maybe environmental bills,
I see. Okay.
transportation bills. You can keep them all separated.
But you can have as many on your list.
And on your list, I think it gives you a limit, but like if I show you my ASIN list, I have a ton of bills, and I don't think I've ever gone over the limit, if there is a limit.
Is it already made into categories in a way, like environmental?
Oh yeah, so it was gonna be the next thing I was gonna show you. But let's say that, let me just show you the personal progress. So I chose my list 3, which is the one I just created with that abortion law. If I want to see where that bill is and how it's doing, or if I want to see a huge list of all my lists that I'm tracking, I click here on print, and it will give me this nice little window tell me again, and I already showed you this, where where it was assigned and what the committee did to it. And they can tell you, it tells you right here, House, it was second read on the 29th, majority caucus gave it a go on the 25th, so this is from yesterday. And minority caucus gave it a go yesterday. But let's say that what kind of topic would you be interested in?
Yeah, that's a good topic.
Because if, let's say that you want to see all bills are related, I'll do environment because that's an easy one to track. So I'll go to keyword inquiry, go up here, you click on it, and you can see all the bills that have been introduced this year include this keywords right here.
Wow. Oh my
So
word.
all this kind of stuff has been,
That's very handy.
So let's look for something related to,
This year, all those topics.
yeah, and if you want to change the session, you click on this. Where's, I don't know if you can change session, to be honest with you, on Alice.
Yeah.
They've been very busy this year. It's been something else. Let's see.
What about clean elections?
Clean elections? Let's see if they have a category. Clean air, clean elections. Clean elections. So I'm interested in seeing what's going on with any bill that mentions clean elections. So I selected begin list search. It takes a little bit, not too long. And these are the only two bills that are related to clean that have that one keyword, clean elections, on the title or in the description. So I see this one, House Bill 2651, which is actually one that we're supportive of, and SB 1344, which we hate. But again, so it tells me, well, there's these two bills here. Unfortunately, they don't have a function to click on it and just send you straight to the description. So again, let's say that I'm interested in seeing what this bill is about. Again, I do have bill number 2651, and again, it gives me all what's going on to it. Bill status. It'll tell me what happened to that bill. This bill actually, this is the 2651. Yeah, this one hasn't been assigned, but the other one has been assigned. So that. Good. Okay. I don't know what happened. Oh, there we go. So that's be 1344, which we don't like. Which you can read more about on our website why we don't like it. And again, that's away with the commission's authority to enforce campaign finance regulation. So the bill status, and I know that this has been assigned for Cal, but it's not, it hasn't been updated yet. But it was sponsored by peers from your neighboring district.
Delightful person.
This is better than Crandall. Barely.
So those are like the easiest way to do it. I mean, I don't use the agenda or calendar inquiry that often, to be honest with you. Because if I want to see what's going on in the agenda or on the calendar, I use RTS, and I'll show you why. But that's pretty much Alice. Before I talk about RTS, do you want me to show you anything else about Alice? It's I know that looks a little bit old, but it's actually really helpful. Now they update this thing around 8 a.m. and they update it again around 2 or 3 every day.
Mm.
So I always, first thing in the morning, and it's like, it's not in my job description, but it has become part of my job description, is first thing I do when I get to the office at 8:30 is check Alice. Because I want to see if any of the bills that I'm interested in have been placed on the calendar. And before I leave for home, I make sure that I check Alice again, make sure that the bills that that if there's any bill that I'm interested in, has to be placed in the calendar for the next day.
So in your organization, does each individual get kind of assigned a certain group of bills that they are tracking? Is that a good way to organize an organization to cover things that, or there's some just not interest anybody and it doesn't matter?
The organization I belong to is we have a very small staff, and the only people that do this in the organization are one of my interns, who is a political nerd, and myself.
You're not.
I am, but I don't like to. I don't want to admit it.
I think the reason she's asking that is because if we want to you know, instead of everybody doing the same thing, if we
Divide it
wanna
up.
split it up
Or
so
just
Yeah.
in your personal interest, I mean, we should
Yeah.
maybe organize around certain
Yeah.
ones and we could use some
Yeah, or
guidance.
else we can just let Angela do all of it.
I think that,
And she probably.
and I think that Angela does have an account, by the way. But, you know, I would,
I mean, how do you prioritize? I guess you're prioritizing according to your own personal interest,
Yeah.
but I mean, in terms of, we would be prioritizing in terms of, I think,
Yeah.
impact.
well, I mean, if you were to find someone who could, you know, I guess you have different committees in your club, right? In your organization?
Yeah.
More or less.
No,
I
well,
mean-
not really, I mean, not based on these topics.
We
Yeah.
we could.
We could,
I mean-
but that's what she's asking, that maybe if we have a number of people who are interested in tracking some things, we can say, okay, well, you do environmental,
Yeah.
you do, you know, elections, you
Mhm.
do whatever.
I mean, that's a way to do it. I mean, it would just be a matter of like centralizing, you know, who's going to be reporting on it, because you don't want to have, you know, 5 or 7 people saying, hey, well, these bills are now, are taking place, and all these bills are coming. So I guess I mean, I don't know how, I wouldn't be able to tell you what's the best way to organize it, because,
It would seem logical to have at least someone tracking our own legislators,
yeah.
because we can
Yeah,
have
that's
more
for
of an
sure.
impact with them,
Mhm.
maybe. And then, you know, have,
Not the bills, the actual
The actual
legislation.
legislators.
yeah, what they sponsored.
Uh-huh.
So if we look at, say, if we look at one of our legislators, we saw this amazingly long list
Uh-huh.
of things he's been
Huge.
involved with. I mean, it's,
Mhm.
it's, I don't know how much of a role he played, like, 1% role or.
Mhm.
Well, just because his name is on it doesn't mean he's actively
Well,
participating.
and the way I would prioritize the bills by your legislator would be to up here, instead of showing all bills, meaning, you know, principal, co-sponsor and, you know, and sponsor, I would just
Oh,
choose prime bills.
Only prime bills.
Uh-huh.
Let's see what he
Well,
does.
what's the difference?
The difference is that for a co-sponsor, if you're the co-sponsor, you didn't draft it. Sometimes, a legislator will run, I forgot the title, the actual term they use for it. But if he's a co-sponsor, he's just trying to gather support, you know, and
So he just puts his name on it.
yeah, he just puts his name on it, like a seal of approval. Maybe he doesn't actively pursue it,
Right.
but you know, I mean, it's telling,
Okay, but
it's telling
maybe-
their
But then
caucus.
there are other bills that maybe he has sponsored,
So that would be the prime bills.
right?
Right.
Prime bills, or if you want to get it, even I never used prime, so I don't know what the difference is, to be honest with you. So I mean, but prime bills, let's do a search.
Well, by using the ones that he's initiating, we would be able to show him up for what his belief system is and
Right.
try to tell people about that and maybe they vote him out.
Let's see, let's try prime, because I can't really believe how big this thing is.
Maybe.
Because he's the principal sponsor for a lot of them. So let me see if I can. I think prime is that he. Yeah, you know what? I don't know what the prime means, to be honest with you. I never used it.
Prime bills?
Hmm?
Does that say only prime?
Mm-hmm. Says-
No, prime is prime.
But I mean, prime bills are ones that he's putting his like definite, you know, seal of approval on them. So I mean, if anything, those will be the ones I'll be prioritizing. And,
So
and-
that second column says, does that mean, all those Ps mean prime?
yeah, all those, yeah, so you can prioritize it here. When you do your search,
Higher education vouchers.
you can do all bills, prime bills, co bills. I would do prime bills because I mean that gives me a good idea. And again, so when I did the prime bills, it gave me this. The list got a little shorter, believe it or not. This one is big actually. This one they say that it could be as big as the one that the governor just vetoed today.
Oh.
Yeah,
is that
so I
why-
mean-
Does it say the same thing?
It's about it has to do with justices of the peace.
Oh, they can refuse to marry people?
I think so.
They're in-
I haven't really read the bill, to be honest with you, but that's just what I got from my friends who are more actively involved in LGBT rights. But anyway, you can see like the bills that your legislator definitely put his seal of approval on. And again, you don't have to put them all in your progress report. You can see the list, and if there's something that catches your attention, you search the bill number, and then you can add it to your personal progress. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I know it looks a little intimidating, but trust me, it becomes second nature once you kind of play with it. To me, and to our partner, it's an effective tool to kind of just keep everything in one place. Instead of me having to call, someone's assistant saying, hey, what's the status of this bill? And they always tell me, Jonathan, don't worry, at 3 p.m. they're gonna put it on the agenda. Stop freaking out, stop calling us. No, they don't tell me to stop calling them, 'cause I think they like me. But anyway, so that's Alice. I mean, and I know that it looks a little, rough around the edges, but it can be a very useful tool. Especially, and I think I got rid of it. Well, I used a different login, but for my other login, I have one that I have a list that says voting bills. I have another one that says, I think I have it pro-choice bills or pro-choice or pro-life. I don't know how I labeled it. So I created different labels to my own personal interest. But I guess that will be up to how you want to keep track of that yourself. If you want to keep a master, set of lists in the interest of the organization, but for your own personal interest, it can be very useful. So, any other questions about Alice? So it can be a useful tool. Again, I strongly recommend you to just log in. It doesn't hurt to create your own account and play with it.
Can you print from? Can you print from that? Can you save that in any way so that you don't have to redo? Let's say you wanted to use that information of what he's been doing in part of your website or show people what he's been doing. Any way you could port that over to something so you don't have to retype it?
It's my understanding that they don't have a way. To be honest with you, the way it doesn't sound very.
I don't know if you can do it with Alice, but you can, on the website, you can, I've done it, is you can print out the text of the bill as it stands, and you can also download it as a PDF. So it gives you that option.
To copy it and paste it and
Well,
stuff.
if anything, you could do. Is this what you're talking about? Like something you can actually just save?
Yeah.
But the problem is that. If you search your bill, let's say.
Some of them are really lengthy.
Yeah. Bills that introduced version. You can still. The problem is that it doesn't give you. It's not giving you the summary. It's just telling me like the introduced version, which is like I can save it to my computer. It's a PDF.
Mm-hmm.
It's a PDF file, but I don't think there's a way to do like the. At least not with all of them. And let me see. Let me try a different bill that maybe has a little more text.
But if you notice and you go onto the individual bills, there'll be strike-throughs with changed text in a different color, so you can see what's transpiring as it goes.
Oh
on.
yeah. So let's see.
Where it gets confusing is when you get into the strike alls or strike
Definitely.
everything,
Yeah.
because then suddenly a bill goes from being about the EPA to being about abortion.
Yeah, well, that's what happened to House Bill 2305 last year. It was a minor fix to a problem that the county recorders presented,
Mm-hmm.
and it turned to a Frankenstein bill
Mm-hmm.
because they did a striker to add prohibitions of two other bills that had failed to make it through the House.
And they tend to do that at the kind of the last week or two of the session.
Yeah, they do. So that's why we have to be up to date with what's going on at the legislature. Let's see. I don't think I can do what like other than this as stuff as items that I can just copy paste. I don't think there's a way to export it, sir. My apologies. It's an outdated system that they use for this.
Well, if you're saying you can save it as a PDF, that's the same thing. So
Yeah, but not the summary.
At least we capture the text without,
Having to go back
having
into
to
it.
go back
Mm.
into it.
Yeah, since it's just such an old tool, I don't know. I don't think they incorporated that. Any other questions about Alice before I talk about RTS? RTS is a little more fun. This one looks a little. So RTS. So request to speak system, it allows you to, as I mentioned, to submit comments for bills on a committee agenda. The reason why I didn't use Alice to keep track of an agenda is because RTS is updated automatically, whereas Alice takes a little bit longer. Although Alice is good to keep track of the bills. If you want to see what's going on directly, let's say on a judiciary agenda, you can see it happening in live time. No, sorry if I said that. Real-time agenda changes and modifications. And I'll show you how to do the bill search and change your positions and establish a position as a voter. And my favorite part of it is to see which lobbyist is putting in comments for or against a bill. And I'll show you why I think it's really interesting. So again, for those of you who I mentioned, and I hope I got most of you, to sign up, again, you go through the legislative website. That will be the first thing you'll see. And your login is your email address, which is the same one you provide to Diana or Angela. And your temporary password, and I just created one for everyone. If you want, I'll show you how to change it, is AC Advocacy. So you remember us when you go home.
Mm-hmm.
So you go to the website, and on the top right corner, you will see settings. Under that, you'll see account management. So let me just get this out of the way, actually. You'll go to account management, and that's where you can reset your password. That way, I don't have access to your passwords. And something that I recommend that people do is update your personal information, and I can assure it to you because I already identified myself. But I would recommend that you identify yourself as a voter, because it actually shows in the record. This person is a registered voter from LD something. So it's a way to kind of add more pressure to the legislator who's reviewing this bill. So again, once you log in, you go to account management. Please reset your password, and please reset your update your personal information so you can identify yourself as a voter. If you decide to do so, if you don't want to identify yourself as a voter or give them any personal information, you don't have to. So this is why I think it's really interesting. I mean, the very first thing you'll see in RTS, and I'll show it to you in a minute, is my bill positions. So these are all the bills that I, not all of them, but most of the bills that I myself have gone in and submitted a comment. As you can tell, I don't like any of the bills. There's 2196, which is the repeal of 2305, which I passed. HCR 2018, which is a House version of the renewal of citizen initiatives. There's SB 1270, which is the Senate version of the repeal of House Bill 2305. It gets complicated, the numbers. Anyway, so as you can tell, I don't like any of these bills, but I'll show you, how it looks from the get-go. See, this is what I was talking about. Who's having the last word on your bills? Something that RTS allows you to do is go back at past agendas from this session and see who voted. I'm sorry, see who submitted a comment for or against the bill. This is for the House Judiciary agenda on January 31st. I was there, I spoke. The representative destroyed me, like he wasn't even nice to me. But these are all the people that submitted comments. So you see, the Arizona Federation of Teachers Union, the Arizona Chamber of Commerce, Arizona Advocacy Network, that was my executive director, Arizona Student Association, the League of Women Voters. Look at who signed up. When it says no, it means that that person didn't request to speak. So I'll show you how to do that. But it shows the bill, how you stand on that bill. Against, for, against. Look at who is speaking for the repeal of House Bill 2305. The Free Enterprise Club, Big Money Back, Gary Taylor, Arizona Chamber of Commerce. So, and what did they do? I mean, we have the list of people that signed up against the repeal of House Bill 2305 was humongous. And there were like 4 people, those to be included, that signed up for the repeal. So look at who's having the last word. Look at who's speaking for you, the voter, and who's not. So, let's get to it. I'll show you RTS. So, again, to go to RTS, you go to the legislative website. You'll find RTS right here, request to speak. And make a request to speak. This is the login that I show you. Again, use the email that you gave to Angela or Diana, and your password is AC Advocacy. You can change it after you sign on. And this is the home menu. As you can tell, it looks a little bit newer than the other one looked, because they actually just redid this thing in January. They redid this whole system a week before the beginning of the legislative session, which was painful. But it's a really good website. To change your password, again, go to this top right corner, account management, and that's where you can set up, do all those changes to your account. Now, my bill positions, I showed to you already. I'm against a lot of bills, but let's get to it. Let's say that you want to see what's coming up in the legislature. You went through Alice and you saw that there's this bill that you hate and it's got to be heard tomorrow in committee. So you will go to RTS, you go to upcoming agendas, you can choose from the Senate, the House, or both. Let's say that we're interested in seeing what's happening at the Senate. So tomorrow, there will be Commerce and Energy's meeting, Natural Resources meeting, Health and Human Services meeting. All these committees are meeting tomorrow at 9 a.m. whatever. So let's say that the bill that I was interested in will be heard in Commerce and Energy. I'll click on it. I'll see what's on the agenda. Show all of them. So it's telling me all the things that are coming up in this particular, everything on the agenda for this particular committee. This thing is updated very fast. So, if a bill is added last minute, you'll see it here. Let's see, what looks interesting here? Military Affairs Commission. So if I want to read more about it, I click on the bill. And you can see all the people that are signed up for or against the bill. Let's say that I'm really interested in this particular bill for one reason or another. So, what you would do, you would go to New Requests. Again, you have to look for the committee. I think I did House, right? Oh, I forgot to do the Sorry. Who's meeting tomorrow? Strategic meeting tomorrow? Okay, there we go. I had just said an committee. So these are all the bills that will be heard tomorrow again. Let's say that I'm interested in this particular bill. I would hit here where it says request to speak, add request. And this is where I get to weigh in on that bill. You can see that I'm for the bill, neutral on the bill, or against the bill. Do I wish to speak? We never choose if necessary. If necessary is the one that someone who, like a lobbyist or someone who is in research, or someone like the Secretary of State, let's say that there's a technical correction. So that's what if necessary means. So we would always choose yes or no. Let's say that I am against this bill, and I don't wish to speak because I'm in Sedona enjoying the nice weather. But I want to submit a comment. So this is where you submit your comment. You would say, what do you want to say? As a voter in LDX, I support this bill because, or I don't like this bill because.
Probably not wise to start with my usual salutation of you idiot.
You should see some of the ones, and I'll show you some of the ones that people have submitted. I mean, people sometimes get aggressive because sometimes this system winds up becoming like an open forum for debate. Because I mean, all these people are weighing in on bills.
Do you get to see how others rate the bill?
Yeah, I'll show you.
Okay.
I'll show you right now.
Wow.
So let's see, where is it?
And you see other comments too.
Yeah. So if you want to, I think there's an easier word to do, but let's say that you're interested in seeing how the comments for the that's a good one, the 2005 repeal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's say that I want to see the comments for that one. I will go to agenda search. I will go to, let's do the House one because that's the one I remember the most. Let's do judiciary, because that's where it was heard. And and by the way, so you know that it wasn't sent to committee because of what you saw in Alice.
Mhm.
But I mean, again, if you want to skip Alice, you can just, go to the website directly and just click on, upcoming agendas, so you can see what's coming up. But let's say that I want to see what people in the past have submitted, just for my own personal entertainment. Search phrase, I'm gonna narrow it down to 21 names. No, well, let's say, I don't know the bill number. Let's see, let's use repeal. 'Cause I know that's in the title of the bill. Show past agendas, yes. That way I'll get those past agendas. Again, I did this on agenda search. I did at the House. Judiciary, repeal, show past agendas, yes. Search. Don't fail me. So that's the one I was looking for. So it was heard this year on January 30th. And this is the bill. So I click on it. And it tells me, where is it? Oh, sorry. There we go. It shows me all the people that submitted comments. So Eleanor Eisenberg, she's with the Legal Women, no, she's a lobbyist, I think she's registered with the Legal Women Voters. I don't know, she's speaking for herself at that time. She says, to repeal the bill, which is a subject of a citizen referendum, would undermine American and democratic principles. Sandy Barr from the Sierra Club. Did she submit a comment? She didn't submit a comment, but she testified. Let's see. Oh, that's me. That's what I wrote. Please respect the will of Arizona voters. Let us have the final say. Arizona has spoken and have earned the right to vote in this piece of legislation in November. That's what I said. Let's see if I can find one I'm trying to find. That's our board president, Dr. Mary Pauline, who spoke against it. Let's see if I can find one.
What does that mean, status? What is that?
A status? Oh, it means that the person that submitted the comment testified.
Oh, testify.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're watching this in live, this thing updates automatically. Let's say that you heard someone speaking, you're interested in seeing who it was. This thing will, it will light up saying this is the person who's speaking right now. It's really cool, they do a really good job with this system.
So in that little figure on the right,
This one?
yeah.
Oh, what this one shows, and this is why I recommended that you identify yourself as a voter. Registered voter. Registered voter. This person, Eleanor Eisenberg. She's a lobbyist. She's a registered lobbyist.
Oh.
And she's a registered voter. So if you have been authorized to be a lobbyist for any organization, you can identify yourself as a lobbyist for any organization. But again, if you're not a lobbyist, I'm not. I never gone through that process of registering yourself as a lobbyist. I don't know if anyone here is registered to be a lobbyist. No. I'm trying to find this one that submitted by this radio talk.
Do we get paid to become lobbyists?
I wish. I'm trying to find one from this gentleman.
I think so, yeah.
This is a comment that my executive director. My executive director, he's a registered lobbyist because he can speak for the organization that I belong to. And this is the comment that he submitted. And again, if I'm a committee chair, I'm seeing this coming as the bill is being heard. So I'm seeing all these comments pop up on my screen as the bill is being discussed. So it's really interesting. I'm trying to find the one by this. Oh, this is a cute one. So this is from Ribco Knotts. She was speaking for her own self. She's a big supporter of ASAT, and she's a big voice for the legal women voters in Arizona. And she says, let the people speak. The public collected more than enough signatures to qualify. Now I keep reading here that the legislature wants to repeal it and then pass major elements of it piecemeal. This circumvents the concept of democracy. Please do not support this bill. There's a really funny one about this one that actually tells them, are you guys stupid or something? But it was by this guy, Steve Muratore, who I think he runs his own blog, the Arizona Legislature. I don't know if anyone has read it. It's a very progressive, democratic, liberal, and he posted this comment that was hilarious. But there it is. First, you were adequately warned about 2305 prior to the last minute shenanigans in June of 2013. Second, you have been adequately warned already in 2014. yeah, this is not the one this bill should die. Now it stayed dead throughout the legislative session. So this is not the one that he called it stupid, but it's, my boss actually, has to tell me, Jonathan, please get off RTS, because I'll start reading all this stuff and it's interesting.
So this is
Like
more,
Facebook
much
for-
more effective than when you get those blasts that say you should send those emails to your.
I think that it's
legislators.
equally as effective. I mean, the email blasts are good because, they're keeping that record. I used to be a page at the Senate, and sometimes when you're a page, you have to be a substitute, assistant. And when you're getting email blasts from people, you have to keep a tab. Like, your senator, your state representative usually tells you, I need you to keep a tab of how many people are calling from, how many people are from my district calling, and what they're telling me to do. Because, sometimes when they're having like real issues with the bill, and let's say that you have a good representative who doesn't, who doesn't listen to lobbyists first, that does have a lot of impact. But this one, what I like about RTS is that it happens live. I mean, they're sitting in committee, they have their computers in front of them, and they're seeing these comments come in from the get-go. And what I really like about it is that it makes the process a little more interactive, and it allows you to see who's speaking for and against bills. And let's say that a bill passed, again, you can see, well, who was my state representative, who was my state senator voting in representation of? Were they speaking for the voters, or were they just listening to the one or two lobbyists that sign up for this thing? So RTS, again, it's one of those things that looks a little complicated at the beginning, but it's a really it gives you really good insight, and it only works when there's for committees. So if a bill is going to the full house, to the full floor, it doesn't work. It only works for committee agendas. Let's see.
So that means you really have to get in early in the session.
Well, I mean, there's as I show you in that common agenda, there's a bunch of committees still happening tomorrow. But I mean, it's good. I mean, this is why I believe that both systems go hand in hand, because it allows you to see, okay, this bill got introduced, but it got assigned to this committee. I mean, through Alice, you will see, okay, this bill got introduced. I'm interested in it. I'm gonna keep an alert on it. And when you log into Alice, you'll see, oh, my progress reports tell me that it will be hearing certain committee tomorrow. You will go to RTS, and that's where you will submit your comment. That's why I think they go hand in hand. But for instance, ASEN has a big bill coming up tomorrow, which will be heard in. Oh no, that's going to Cal. Do we have any bills coming up tomorrow? Public safety, probes.
This is the kind of stuff you scroll through at your stand-up desk when you're on a treadmill.
Oh, yeah.
So you don't, your
Well,
body
that's
doesn't
good.
die.
That's a good idea.
I cannot find any ASEN bills to
Yeah.
We
show you.
could sit around for hours doing this. Our bodies need to move.
No, it's really,
Yeah, I mean, you could probably sit there and go through this for hours and hours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you can actually do it on a treadmill.
You know what it winds up doing? It winds up, making you mad. Well, I mean, especially when you're checking so many, some bills, and you see how people are, submitting comments against this bill. Like they hate the repeal 2305. And you see all these people from like Sierra Club, Legal Women Voters, the Winners Not Coalition, and everyone gets just saying, please vote no. And then like there's 3 people that sign up, for it. And it's this guy from the chamber, this guy from the Free Enterprise Club, and this guy from.
Yeah, it's like the bill that's going through that I got last time. It wasn't state, it's federal, for the for Dow Chemicals to have this the use, unregulated use of this chemical, and you have all of these comments from individuals, and then you have, first of all, you have a big list of all the same email. And then you have these the ones that are, from the state legislators with their head masked and their whole thing of all fancy writing and legalese and everything, with real push that they want this. And then you have the little individuals saying, you're killing us here. We're dying. The bees are dying. Go back and read Silent Spring. I mean, what are you talking about here? Chemicals, more chemicals.
And one thing that I want to make clear is that this is not useless in the sense that it's not only a way for us in the progressive committee to just show our outrage. This is public record. Like if you submit a comment, it stays in public record, and we can use that later on to say, this is how the legislature voted. This is the people that he voted with. These are the people that he when he voted for the repeal 2305. These are the and you said you saw the
Well, just like now with the bill, with the religious discrimination bill, I mean, all those clowns that are saying, well, wait a minute, we didn't realize what it really meant. We didn't
Let's
really
look for that.
understand
Let's look for
the
that one.
ramifications of this bill, you know, I mean, because they're getting these boilerplate legislations and then they're just like, go ahead and vote for it, because they're all kind of
Well, Steve
in
Pierce,
Found it.
Steve Pierce admitted, he was told to vote for it.
You want to see who voted for
I
it?
was told to vote for it.
So let's see, 1062, which is the religious freedom bill,
Yeah.
got heard in committee back on the 27th. It was on Senate rules. Oh, sorry, not that one. Let's do this one. Government and environment. It was heard in government and environment back in January 16th. And at the time, not a lot of people were aware of this bill, by the way. It was one of those. I mean, I remember seeing this
It's
bill.
like a sleeper cell.
Yeah, the first time I saw this bill, it was like, you know, I think it was the first week of January, and I saw all the bills that got introduced. And I was like, this sounds weird, but I thought, it's not gonna make it. It's one of those bills that they just introduced but never got passed. I thought it's just gotta be, but then it just started
It
moving.
was vetoed last year.
It was vetoed last year, but they reworked it. But anyway, you can see who. Let's see. I'm showing that past agenda, by the way. I'm showing like the first time that they heard it. Oh, this one. So the Steve Matore. Steve. So he submits this comment saying it's an effort to authorize religious bigotry against individual Arizonans and codify said bigotry in civil rights statutes. I find this bill extremely offensive. I also have published in the Arizona Legislature blog, explain more on my position. And he does a little plug for his blog. Because that's what Mr. Muratore does. But you can see who spoke for it or against it. So he spoke against
What
it,
about the people that?
against it.
voted for
Let's see if I can find someone who's for it. No comments. For no comments. Center for Arizona Policy. No comments. They didn't submit any comments.
Can I see Catholic Church up there?
Excuse me.
No.
You go back a little further up.
Arizona
Here it is.
Catholic.
So you can,
Yeah, what about that?
for position 4, name Mr. Johnson from the Arizona Catholic Conference.
He's a lobbyist.
He's a lobbyist. How about that?
But-
Anyone can be a lobbyist. If your organization, even if my organization is, the neighborhood watch of my little corner of my little neighborhood, if they give me power to speak on behalf, anyone can be a lobbyist. But you need that written consent, and you have to go through all the process. But I didn't know the Arizona Catholic Conference had a lobbyist, but I guess they do.
So because there's nothing in the comments column, that means they didn't really make a comment?
No, it means that they just submitted.
Well, he's just saying, I'm against.
He's just saying I'm against. That's it.
Yeah.
But he's making sure to say that he's a lobbyist representing this organization. And most of the times, especially with this highly controversial bills, like the repeal of 2305, they will just say I'm against it, but they will not submit any comments. At least the lobbyists will. Like at least the ones that represent like a special interest, or I don't want to say that the Catholic Church is a special interest because I'm Catholic myself, but if you're mostly most lobbyists who speak for the chamber, that speak for those kind of organizations, they hardly ever submit comments. They just put in I'm against it or I'm for it. You see sometimes people on both sides of the aisle submitting comments, and it happens a lot. And they saw this bill, they were seeing this thing in person, they saw the bill, and they were seeing this comments in person. ACLU spoke against it. You can see who's sign up for and against it. But again, you can spend hours here because every bill that you heard this year that you think is bad, you could just find it here. Just do you do a gen search, and is there any bill that here in Sedona you've been tracking by any chance? Anything in particular? No? So
I guess Gary's comment with what our representatives are after, which are not, things that are not in our
Well, the
interest.
EPA notification would be
Yes,
interesting.
EPA.
notification.
Nullification. And what's really cool is that most of the times it really catches all the keywords. And for this one, I don't want to. Should I show pathogens? Yes, I should. So you can see. So I think that it's already going to the full floor. So. Okay, so. Yes, like that. Just okay.
Yeah, if you just search under it, I don't think the nullification was in the title,
Yeah. Do you remember what was in the title?
but, EPA, but, I don't remember what,
Both
it's intended to limit the,
Yeah, I heard about it. Ah, there it is. Found it. Maybe? Ah, there it is. EPA notification of rules. That one, huh?
yep,
SR 1003. Let's find it here. Oh, did you hear about this one? The Mexican wolf? Did you hear about that, Bill?
no.
So apparently, a farmer in southern Arizona said that Mexican wolves, which are in danger of extinction, highly endangered species, were killing his sheep. So this bill pretty much allows the state of Arizona to kill all Mexican wolves in southern Arizona.
That's why they're highly endangered.
I'm no kidding.
Yeah. Which came first?
Let's see, Arizona. I'm just trying to find it. It's just that the problem is that when I do like the agenda search, like and I click on the bill, it shows me all the bills I heard that day in that committee. So that's why it's there. It is. So who spoke against it? Sandy Barr. I think that makes sense. Salt River Project. They say that they're neutral on the bill, and they send me the comments.
Huh.
They say BK amendment may need some adjustments in qualifications. So they say there's this. What he's saying here is Representative BK has this amendment. We're looking forward to that, but we're neutral on this bill. So who else is against it? On behalf of the Arizona Public Health Association. Against Steve Muratori again. This is funny. I didn't even sleep at night.
Is that what it says?
But he has a very his blog. Again, someone for the bill. Oh come, let's see. It's kind of, I guess that's. I try to show when I do this little when I show RTS, I always try to show Mr. Muratori's comments because like they're just really cool. Because ASAN, Americans, we always do more, we do it formally. Like the comments that we submit are very,
Yes.
Yeah, we stick to the facts.
Straightforward.
We highly recommend, and this can be just a personal suggestion, don't attack them. I'm just saying.
Why not?
Frankly, with our group of legislators, I don't know that it makes a difference. It's sort of like, Gosar is my congressman, and I interact with him all the time, and so I will send him an email saying I'm for something, and he'll send an email back saying, I too am for that, and then he'll go on to explain how he's completely against it.
Exactly.
But it's always very polite. That's what the Tea Party's been taught.
Yeah.
There's Thorpe wrote a book on it that it's to be exceedingly polite, never confront anyone.
Mm-hmm.
Just always take their statements and turn them back.
Yeah.
On
I guess each organization has their own way of doing things, and I would never submit a comment saying, "Are you guys stupid?" I just it's not my personal style. But if you wish to use some RTS, and I did set up an account for you, I just think it's an interesting way to keep state politics interactive. Make them just keep track of what's going on, see who signed up for those bills, see who's. If when you're looking at a bill that your state senator voted for, you can go into RTS and say which voice did he represent when he voted for this bill? Who was in favor of this bill? Who was against this bill? I'm sorry.
If it's in the public record, can you take somebody's comment and use it then, say in a letter to the editor or in some kind of put it on our website or something like. So maybe our club members could see how somebody is very clear about their expression, either for or against something.
I think that's more of a legal question, but since this is public record,
perfectly legal.
perfectly legal.
If it's public record.
Public record is perfectly legal.
Yeah.
As long as you accurately,
Yeah, kind of
I
attitude.
mean,
right.
the only problem that I see is how would you copy paste it, right? Maybe just do like a print screen or something, but I don't know. But there's gotta be ways to do that. I mean, and before I take any other questions on RTS, the reason why we're doing this trainings is when we show the film of United States of Alec, one of our main points is that sometimes we tend to lose focus on what's going on at the local level, and I know that sometimes we just lose focus on what's going on here in the state, and that religious freedom bill indicates that it's important to stay on track of what's going on at the local level, and sometimes we just tend to favor what's going on at the national level, and we do this training to make state politics something that people are more engaged with, because the film The Access of Violence, something that it demonstrates is that what's going on here at the local level has a greater impact, and we all know this. That it has a greater impact on their everyday lives than many times what's going on at the federal level. Not saying don't listen to what's going on at the federal level, but this is just a very easy way to just stay up to date with what's going on at the state level. Something that Arizona Advocacy Network does, and we hope that you join our action alerts. I'll pass out some brochures about the organization if you want to learn more about us. You can sign up for our action alerts, and we have an anti-voter bill that we are strongly against. We actually we send all links to all the bills to the agenda, and we even provide a little sample message for you to use in RTS. So with that, I'll take any questions on RTS if you want me to show you anything here.
It appears that this isn't heavily used by individuals.
We're really pushing it. So I mean,
but from just judging
Yeah.
from the lack of comments.
Yeah, it's something that I think is starting to gain traction, and it's we've been really pushing this with our C3 table and with our C4 table.
Website.
Even if you don't submit comments on a daily basis, I think it's just a very interesting way to by the way, this thing will take your time away. It's really something else, but. Not a lot of people use it yet. Not a lot of people are signed up. The problem, especially for RTS, is that you need to sign up at the Capitol. Not everyone has a chance to plan a trip to the Capitol.
Well, you can't do it online.
No, you cannot sign in for a request to speak online. You can do it for the other one, for Alice, and we hope that you give it we hope you give it a go for Alice. You can do it from home. But for RTS,
How do
You
you
have
sign us up?
they have they have some computers set up by inside the Senate and the House, and in order to set up someone, all I do is ask for email address and name, because that's all the information I need to send you up.
So if we got other people who couldn't come tonight interested.
I will be more than glad to get that list from you, and I'll go.
Filtering more people to you.
Yeah. There's a reason why Angela was really saying, send me if you're interested, send me names, send me emails, because she knew that I was going to go to the Capitol and send you guys up.
Yeah, right.
So
Very good.
if you have people who are interested in this, please send me email addresses. Maybe not one by one, or maybe if you have like 5 or 10 people that that are interested, send it to me as a bundle. I go to the Capitol probably twice a week, depending on what my boss and Mr. Colaro have in store for me. He's one of our board members. Depending on what we have in store, I'll go to the Capitol once or twice a week, and I'll send up everyone. I mean, that's one of my everyday tasks. And if I have a group, I'll send them off for Alice.
If I give you a business card, would you?
I'll send you up.
So do you think that if they see more things popping up, that they'll ignore them more?
I think it builds pressure, to be honest with you, because
It builds pressure.
on their screen, and I cannot show that because it's not visible to the public, but on their screen it shows two little windows. One with the light feed of all the comments coming in, or all the comments that they have available, and it also shows if someone wants to speak. Let's say that you actually want to come down to the Capitol and you want to speak on the bill, you can do it here. I mean, that's where I did the new request. You choose if you want to speak on the bill, but if you don't, just submit the comment. I think that it adds pressure because they have that screen showing who is signed up for the bill or against the bill. It also shows it's a weird thing, but it's like a little tally of people signed up for and against. And so that's why, I don't know if you ever heard, if you ever heard a committee, the committee will say, well, there's 28 people signed up against this bill, 5 in favor of this bill, 3 have requested to speak. This is exactly what they're talking about.
Oh,
Uh-huh.
okay.
So like, when the committee, they say, a comment like that, and then they'll call you out by name, like saying, Mr. Mr. Alanis, are you here? Please come to the front. I mean,
So on our latest religious, exclusion bill,
uh-huh.
there weren't that many comments or many.
As you can tell, that bill didn't gain a lot of traction or attention from folks.
They pushed
Till
it
way
through
late.
it, they pushed it through in like a week.
Yeah, I mean, that bill got stuck in, it got the due press recommendation from that committee back in what was it, January 16th? And it just got pushed like that in a week. It just made, they shared it up to the floor, they shared it up to through Cal rules and everything. That's the way unfortunately, that's the way they operate.
Pierce said that when he was interviewed on television, that his excuse for changing his opinion was that he hadn't read the bill and he was just told what it was about, and he was told that it was a real rush, that there was no time to, that everybody should vote for it and everybody was pushing it, and there was no time to I mean, it's just this whole, culture of having a few groups tell people how to vote, and then they just go along like sheep.
Mm-hmm. Well, now they say, some groups tell them how to vote, and that's what ASN focuses on. Those, big money bag politicians who are, who are just, who are speaking for their donors and not for their voters. I mean, that's the central focus of our organization. And the bills that we push for are bills that, that would do away with that. Unfortunately, many of our bills get stuck in committee because, the committee chairs or the president of the House or the president of the Senate or the Speaker of the House choose not to have them up, come up for a vote. But, those are the kind of bills that we push for. And if there's, there's bills like, that undermine voters or clean elections, we'll speak against it. Those are the kind of things and we always point out to those connections between those special interest groups and how the legislators are voting. It's unfortunate, but it's the current state of affairs in Arizona. And probably throughout the nation.
Nationally too.
Mhm.
Is there anything else I can show you on RTS? I mean, if, or like,
I'm just curious, if you request to speak, do they have to let you speak?
I think that they do, but it's up to the chairman of the committee. And let's say that there's a ton of people signed up to speak on the bill. The chairman will say, well, there's 28 people signed up to speak for this bill, and there's 28 people signed up against this bill, and they all want to speak. Folks, since it's so many of you, I only gotta give you 30 seconds. That's the way they do it. I mean, it's only been it's only been a couple of times that I've seen them say, we're not gonna take any more comments. Or they will always like stop someone, like, they'll say, you have 1 minute. If you go over a minute, I'm gonna have you stop. And I'm not gonna let you, speak anymore. I don't know if they're actually legally required to let you speak, but I think that most of the times they accommodate for everyone to speak.
And if you make a request to speak, then do they let you know, how do you know that it's coming up, for you to be able to come and speak? How do you know?
Well, the sad part is that you really don't know. I mean, many times, for instance, when the repeal of House Bill 2305 was on the agenda for House Judiciary back in January, we brought all the troops down to the Capitol. We had a ton of people who we signed up to request to speak. And we thought, and the order of the bills was House Bill 2305, repeal, first one on the agenda. We come in and they tell us, this is the order, the chairman has that power as well. The chairman says, this bill will be heard first, this one second, this one third. So what they do is, if there's this is a dirty trick, something they pull off. If there's a lot of people signed up on a controversial bill, they'll say, we're gonna hear this one at the end. That way no one sticks to the end and people just leave. So when the bill will be heard in that committee, what you don't know is, if what the order is. That can be determined at the very last second. And the chairman will say that, and then RTS will update, and Alice will not update.
It's very discouraging.
Oh. It's been turned on for too long.
Yeah, sorry, time's up.
I'm sorry about that.
It's your computer when you
Is
just
it?
did one.
Oh, there it is.
Oh,
So
yeah.
do you go to, say, community colleges and present there? To
About
young
this?
people of voting age?
Of course. I'll start going.
Have you been
Have you?
going?
Have you?
We're just really trying to get younger people
Yeah.
engaged, and I was just wondering about your tactics.
I see this as a tool for, as a power tool for people, like
It
someone,
is.
so,
Absolutely is.
to at least make them feel like engaged in the process, because I mean,
Exactly.
so, I never done a community college, but I'd be more than glad to do
It
that.
just seems like an ideal venue.
Yeah, send me a list of 40 people that want to do a training, and I'll have my interns, go sign them up, and we'll come back up and we'll do another one of these trainings. I'll try to be a little more clear, because I know that my accent is a little complicated.
Not hard at all.
I learned English when I was 14, so. Yeah.
I think for older audiences, you speak a little bit fast,
Yeah,
but
a little
for
too
young
fast.
people, they'll really like it.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know it's not related to this, but I did a presentation in Sun City, and a lot of people came to me saying, "Oh, great presentation, great presentation." And then this lady gave the president of the Sun City Democratic Club, which was the organization I was supposed to
City,
be.
older people.
They gave her, she grabbed one of my brochures, and on the back, she wrote, "I cannot understand a single word he's saying." And I remember I saw that, I told my girlfriend about it, and she's like, and she says, "Well, sometimes I cannot understand you." I was like, "Oh, great, after 2 years."
Oh, they understood every word.
Ah, thank you. So, is there anything else I can show you whether it's on here in Alice, whether it's on RTS or Alice? I know it's a lot of information to take, in a little bit, but again, I know if either of them look intimidating, once you play with them for a little bit, they become second nature.
See,
Especially,
that's what would be great about college students and younger people,
uh-huh.
because they're so into it, so
Yeah.
they'll figure it out in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I mean, if you have younger people who are involved with your organization,
We're trying
you
to
can
get-
assign one.
That's what we're trying to do, we're trying to
We
get.
don't have any.
You find someone who is into this kind of stuff, and you tell them, "Hey, can you please?" Like my boss does it to me. He just asked me, "Jonathan, just check Alice for me once or twice a day, just make sure that everything's under control." And to me, it takes me no time. Sometimes I'll get distracted looking for things, but it's a really useful tool.
How many people did you say you would have to have in order to do another training?
5, 10.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean,
Because I mean, we just had this like hot legislative topic that
Yeah.
brought people to the streets.
Yeah.
Flagstaff, they had this giant rally.
yeah, I saw
You
that.
know, I mean, it seems like there's like a little wave going through Arizona now where people would want to know what they're sneaking through the legislature.
And I assure you that a lot of civic engagement organizations will start using this thing more, because
I would think that someone who's like studying political science in a college, maybe a professor might even be interested in having his students follow,
Absolutely.
find out how to do this and follow things.
I mean, it's definitely a good tool, and
Or maybe we could have it at a coffee house here.
That's what we're
And just get like, have you come to one of the coffee houses
I love
and
to.
try to get, just
Yeah.
kind of, the thing is, you're nonpartisan. I mean, it would just be kind of topical. It would be
Yeah.
how did you like this legislation?
Mhm.
And how would you like to know what they're cooking up?
Yeah. And that's the way they do it. I mean,
Yeah.
I belong to a progressive organization. We're nonpartisan. We work with people on both sides of the aisle.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, I never get invited to tea party clubs.
That's a good thing, because you don't want them to know about this.
Eh,
Because they'll all be on it.
I never get invited to the Republican clubs, but
They probably know about
But
it.
if they invited me,
You've never been invited to a Republican club either?
no, we have been invited. And we have spoken again. We have spoken with a couple groups.
Uh-huh.
Well, my executive director has. I don't think I have. But without further,
So you said Sam Warsinski's your boss?
he's my executive director. Yes.
Uh-huh.
And he, I was with him last year when he brought the United States Ballot film, and we showed it at the library. We had a lot of folks. We had like 35 people.
The library.
Mm-hmm.
The library would be good. And was it you who said the clubhouse?
Oh, the clubhouse in Oak Creek, yeah.
Yeah. And you can have-
Paid for it.
Yeah.
So I really hope
I
you
know,
found
when
this.
you rent that big room, it's.
Mm-hmm.
I really hope you found it. You found this meeting, like a useful tool.
Great.
Not a lot of people know about. Oh my god! Not a lot of people know about it. Not a lot of people use it, unfortunately. But I can assure you that more civic engagement organizations are gonna start using it, especially after we did RTS. Because it used to be terrible. It used to be worse than Alice. Now it's really good. Even though they changed like last minute, I really like this system. It's really, once you get the hang of it, it's really easy to use. So, you know, I've seen it more because in our action alerts, I don't know if any of you get our action alerts. In our action alerts, we usually say, are you part of our RTS team? Find this committee agenda for this day. This is a bill that's coming up. You know, this is a sample comment or this is the kind of messaging that we're using for this bill. And we see how a lot of other organizations like the Legal Women Voters and the Sierra Club have begun adding that same language, that same invitation, saying, "Are you do you have RTS? If you don't, we'll send you up." And it makes me very happy because this is the second year that we've been doing trainings. We do this training as a webinar actually at the beginning of session. And we just begun doing this once, in person, just to make it a little easier to go through questions and all those things.
So the webinar is not as easy to follow?
It's easy to follow, but just imagine my voice over a webinar.
Oh, you're the voice on the webinar?
Yeah.
Your voice is good.
It is.
I like just what I said, a little slower for older people.
Very good.
For older people.
Is there any,
Why older people?
Well, just because of hearing.
I don't know, I have trouble.
I'll pass on some of our brochures with some of the information about ACE, and if you're interested about learning more